By the way, since Tiffany's going to go ahead and make the iced cup of coffee now, man, she's amazing with it. I'm going to go and try something different. Yeah. No, I'm going to sit over here. So, instead of using my MacBook Pro to edit today's video on, the July 29th video, I'm going to do something different. I am going to edit just solely on my actual iPad Pro here. And I know what you're thinking. Why? Why does it matter? Not why are you doing it, why does it matter? Honestly, to be able to challenge myself, because I want to go ahead and see if I can go ahead and do something just as good as I would typically when it came to what I would normally use. And the last time I did a video was actually, it looks like June 22nd, so nearly a month ago, when I actually did a video on my iPad Pro. And I'm like, you know what? Shoot, we got this freaking thing. This tablet is so monstrous in capability. Let's use it, right, baby? Not to mention, it has the same power and capability as my Mac Mini does, but with quadruple the storage. How freaking cool is that, too? So yeah, what I'm doing right now is I'm copying over all the footage, sitting at the chase here, just watching the night sky. And I'm just gonna edit today's video on this. It's actually just like an actual laptop. You have a screen, you have a computer inside, all the power, you have a keyboard, you have a trackpad. If you really want, I even got a stylus here. I don't know anybody in Louisiana. But guys, let's go ahead, let's wait for the files to copy over. And we're just gonna edit on this. And if you're wondering, well, how are you copying the files over? Well, because I have another Action 5 with like a bunch of different memory cards laying around, so yeah, that's how I'm doing all this all at once. And truthfully, I like to challenge myself as well with using different tools that I have at my disposal. Even the Pocket 3 on occasion, right, babe? Even though that sucker is an incredible camera, that Pocket 3, I love that sucker. I love how amazing it is. But at the same time, what I don't love is what's outside. Random Florida storms that you never know when are going to come out of nowhere. And the Pocket 3, as a couple of vloggers like Jacob the Carpetbagger have learned, is very, very much a insider camera. It doesn't like to go into elements. And truthfully, that's why we have like 2 of these Action 5 Pros. Because these suckers are amazing. Whether you're going into a store, whether you're going into the mall, or going outside, theme parks, all kinds of places. I just love it to death. And honestly, it's the best camera I have ever bought. And considering I have owned Sony cameras, I have owned mirrorless cameras, I have had DSLRs, I have had point and shoots, I have had everything under the sun, including GoPro. Yes, GoPro 5, I've tried the 8, I've tried the 10, I tried the 12, then I tried the 13. GoPro and me are like a toxic relationship. Every couple of cycles we try to get back together, but it just doesn't work out, so we separate. And honestly, when I found the Action 5 Pro, everything just connected up, and we were just like perfect for each other. And I love how they have external mics that build in and work right with it. It's just amazing. But I'm gonna go ahead, let these files copy over. And this is something I would have to do even if I was doing it on the MacBook Pro. The only difference being with the MacBook Pro I have is that the actual SD card slot is built right into the device. Tiff, if you can get a hold of an Apple engineer to make this a true iPad Pro, it needs to have an SD card slot built in. So that way you could just take your video files and your photo files directly from the camera SD card, slap it inside the tablet, bam, done. Get a hold of the people over at Apple.
Yeah, no.
Let's make everybody in the world happy.
They want you to pay for their accessories.
Welcome to Dongle Life. You have a problem? Well, we got a dongle for that. Should really be Apple's little thing. You want to do that? We got a dongle for that. Not really. I do love the iPad Pro, and honestly, everything has been great so far. Short of that. But let's see how good this thing is with what we needed to do. The other thing is that all my media files that I really need, all my bins and stuff, are actually in the cloud. So my copyright-free music I use, all my endings, my overlays, all that stuff is in the cloud. So all of it will migrate perfectly. But yeah, let's go and start up a project file. Well guys, we are almost there. Just about. And I actually did go ahead and I brought over a cable for power, because I don't know how power hungry this intensive app is going to be, because I'm actually going to go ahead and use Final Cut Pro on here. I have Final Cut on the MacBook, but in order to use Final Cut on here, you have to go ahead and get a license for it. Well, they also have a free trial for a month, so I'm going to go ahead and do that and just experiment with it and see how it is. Because honestly, I'm curious on, let's just say I'm away from the MacBook Pro. I don't want to take it with me for an overnight stay, let's say over at Universal, you know? That I want to go ahead and edit on something a little bit more powerful than this, an iPhone. Well, there we go. Let's try it. And yeah, what you're seeing now is basically going to be an extra video upload for today. Just a little fun after hours, a little editing to see how it's like doing it on here versus over there. And just trying something unique and different. Alright, it's not that different because let's face it, there's millions of people that already probably edit on an iPad. Or we wouldn't have an iPad Pro probably sold by Apple, right?
Yep.
But still, it's something fun to try. And every now and then, as a creator, you want to challenge yourself. You want to do something different. And that's what you gotta do after a while. You don't want to stay in the same boat forever. You want to try getting out and getting into a better one. Because you never know, you might like it better. Alright, the files are copied over, and now we can start the editing process of importing it all into the actual project file. So here's the deal. Now we go ahead and we got the clips ready, we got them all imported. And now we can go ahead and start. But I like to go ahead and have a pair noise canceling headphones on whenever I do editing, because it allows me to go ahead and isolate myself from everything around me. I know it sounds a little mean, but I kind of don't like having any noise around me when I'm trying to edit a video. That way I can just solely hear everything that's actually meant for the video. So let's go ahead and get that done. I will say though, it's definitely a lot more interesting getting the playhead just right whenever you're doing it on here versus when you're actually doing it on the MacBook Pro. And I think that has to do with that on a MacBook Pro you have a very fine cursor movement as well, whereas on here you have a circle. However, Apple's thought about that. And later on, they're actually coming out with a new iPad OS that will actually give us an arrow on the iPad Pro. Yeah, isn't that exciting?
That is actually interesting.
Yeah, so when you actually move the little mouse pad on your actual iPad, it's actually gonna be an arrow on your screen now.
Oh.
Not a circle.
Okay.
I don't even know if she actually uses the mouse pad on her iPad.
Nope. I've never used this thing.
The girl has a
But it is
$200.
circle.
She has a $200 freaking keyboard and trackpad setup. And never uses it.
I actually had no idea that was there.
I could have just bought you a $30 case.
Well, I do use the keyboard.
There's one on the screen.
I don't like using that one. It takes up all of my image.
But yeah, this one here for the iPad Pro is $300. $299.
Ridiculous.
The pencil was like $129 or something. So yeah, I want to get use out of this stuff. Because between... Oh my god. Between the keyboard for the iPad Pro and this pencil, it's basically the cost of an entry-level Mac Mini.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's about up there into the $400 or $500 range when you add everything together. Wow. Let's keep editing. It's 7:26 right now. This video here that you're actually seeing right now of me doing all this process, I'm actually gonna edit that on the MacBook Pro. Because I just wanted to test myself and challenge myself and see if everything that I do normally, can I replicate onto the iPad Pro. That was the goal. So far, so good actually. The only thing I don't like necessarily is playing around with actual clips. But it's not that horrible, really. It's improved a lot since I edited on the iPad Pro way back in the day. And I know I did one of these before where I tried to edit on here, but I really want to give it a good shot and good, fair chance. Let's keep going. By the way, now is actually a good point to talk. So a lot of the actual plugins that I would normally use when it came to my actual MacBook are actually on here as well, as far as something called voice isolation, where it gets rid of music that's in the background, which is really great for helping to get rid of copyright music. I'm happy about that. Let's keep going. So, in the world of editing, there's 3 main programs, 4 actually, that are used. Final Cut Pro, which is for Apple devices. iMovie, again for Apple devices. DaVinci Resolve, which is for everybody. I think Linux as well. And then Adobe Premiere. So, I'm using Final Cut Pro for the iPad. And I found that the only thing I don't like has to be when it comes to their plugin for noise isolation to get rid of the copyright music in the background. It creates too much of a mechanical, robotic voice. And I'm going to leave it in so that way you guys can judge as well. But I think I like Final Cut Pro a little bit better. Let's keep going. Okay, so this is where it's going to become a little tricky, because I'm at the end of the video now, and this is where I like to go ahead and put that nice little overlay where it talks about please like and subscribe. However, I want to go ahead and do something different on this clip, and the reason why is because we went ahead and we have something different. We actually have a thunderstorm that we recorded. So whenever I'm doing something on the MacBook, I can go ahead and do what's called composite. So that's what I want to do this time. I want to see how easy can I go ahead and hit it for a composite. So, no video effects. Let's see here, mask and key. It says scene removal. Well, it's not perfect. It's not exactly a screen version like I would do on the MacBook Pro. But it's a start. Let's go ahead and just hit disable. You see, when I do green screen removal, then it tries to remove the black, but it also removes the pink, and then it makes it that awkward orange, which aren't our colors at all. Because if you know our microfamily colors are pink and black. And there's actually a story behind why those colors were actually chosen. I'll tell it to you in a minute. But let's go ahead and keep trying. Or we might just have to go ahead and just use that right there. Yeah, that'll work. So while I go ahead and figure out the title part now, let's talk about why the colors were actually chosen. Tiffany's copy.
And subscribe.
Still amazing. Let me ask you, do you actually know the reason why I picked those colors for the logo? Why we use the pink and black like that? And it's that particular hue of pink. And I was so particular on with our overseas artists. I'll actually tell both of you now. And it's actually inspiration from wrestling from back in the day. So back in the day, there was actually a guy named Bret the Hitman Hart. You remember? Oh my god. Well, anyway, his brother Owen Hart sadly did actually die during a performance. But I actually got inspiration for the colors for our logo from Bret, from Owen's brother. Because I just thought that combination looked so awesome. And the lady, when she was designing our logo, she was like, well, what colors do you want me to use? And I was like, okay, I want this particular shade of pink, and I want black. And how I actually found that particular shade is I actually used color instruments to identify the exact hue, the exact color combination of pink. That is how meticulous I was behind the scenes when I actually designed our logo with our overseas artists. And I think I was probably the biggest pain in the butt for our artists. But man, she did amazing work back then, and honestly, I would have still loved to use her. But I don't even think she's around anymore on doing it. That's the only sucky part. So now I gotta figure out getting a title. Because I like to have the little lower left hand text that will say good morning and today's date. And I do that actually for two reasons. One, so that when I'm editing the video, I know it sounds stupid, but that I actually know in the project files what each one is actually. So that's actually why I do the title like that. But yeah, that's the backstory to why the colors are actually used. And why I honestly have not had a desire to actually go off and change the actual logo at all. Because in my opinion, it works. It's decent looking, and it's got brand recognition after all these years now. So that's why I just keep with it. Now let's get into my experience here, because I am just at the end of editing this video here. And truthfully, it's taken me about the same amount of time as it would on the MacBook Pro. But it's been interesting, shall I say. And the reason why it's been interesting, okay, is because when you have the pencil, when you have the Apple Pencil and you have the stylus in your hand, and you're actually using the jog wheel and everything else, it's definitely more interactive. Like, you can meticulously do things a little bit more, from what I can tell. So I actually like that. Now, on the other hand, I did find it is a little bit more slower at things when you're trying to put together the video. And if I had, let's just say, one of our videos where we use 2 or 3 different cameras and we have different viewpoints and we're constantly flip-flopping back and forth, and we've done that on a couple of videos where we had a lot of different scenarios that went into it, it would be a little bit more challenging because of one issue. And this I don't like. I'll be honest, I don't like it about them. And that is what somebody else has also said before. But I would have thought that by now they would have improved and fixed it. They don't have bins or buckets. So what I mean by that is that all your files are just in one big clump together. I don't like that. I like having my files in separate bins so that way I can go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to go to camera A. Done. Alright, I need camera B, which was the Pocket 3. Done. Now I can go into that bin and just pull those files for now. Oh hey, I need to get a music background for a soundtrack to add in for a coffee scene. Alright, let me go into my soundtracks, my music folder, in my program. Bam, done. That is actually what I enjoyed doing when it came to that. Unfortunately, from what I can tell, and maybe I'm wrong, so if I am, just don't shoot the messenger. Just educate me, okay? If you know better. But I could not find a way to go ahead and create separate folders to where I could just import a bin, for instance, or that I could go ahead and just go ahead and select a folder that has all my music in it for the project. That I would have liked. Now, I know what you're gonna ask next. Hey Ryan, you do know, and I know you're a big fanboy of DaVinci. Well, why aren't you just using DaVinci on the iPad? Ah, there's a good reason for that. $94 and change. $94.99. A while back, okay, I went ahead and I ponied up the money and was like, you know what? I'm good with this. I can go ahead and use DaVinci Resolve on my Macs, on my PC. Yeah, it's about $300 or whatever, but it was a great investment because it was a one-time purchase. Well, DaVinci, they're giving you a free basic version on the iPad. Okay? That is cool, but you don't get the plugins that you need, like noise cancellation, stuff like that, unless you pay them $95 to unlock it. That I'm not a big fan of. But that's just my opinion. Alright, let's go ahead and I don't want that. I thought I was going to go ahead and do a live drawing. What? I'm gonna leave something in there. Alright. So now I got that done. I got my video done. Now I gotta go ahead and I gotta share. Alright, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get us set up to go ahead and export the file. Let's see here. Included audio and video, of course. Let's go ahead and export as a H.264 file. SDR Rec 709, perfect. Alright, we have a 47-minute video that we're going to go ahead and export now. And then we still got to upload it. The only thing that I'm a little bit nervous on is, and I know I'm not going to be able to do it, I also use VidIq to help with tags. And VidIq doesn't have an extension when it comes to doing it on mobile devices. So for that part, we may have to flip back over to the MacBook Pro once the file is actually uploaded. Alright, here we are. 9:15. We have our export done. 16.78 gigabyte. Alright, we are good. Let's get ready to upload it. Alright, now let's go ahead. There we go. We're not exactly worried about anything right now, except for making sure that our visibility is unlisted. That's basically it. Because all the other stuff we can add in metadata later. Oh my god, it's late for doing this. We can add all that in later. Alright. Now we wait. I'll save you guys that problem. This is actually pretty cool. Alright, so right now, the iPad Pro is still uploading today's actual vlog. Guys, it's just been fun doing this little short video. So here are my thoughts when it comes to editing and creating on the iPad Pro. And uploading. I think it's amazing, to be honest, for actual content creation to go ahead and edit videos on. I absolutely loved it to death. The problem for me right now is the upload is taking forever. But then again, it's taken forever before when I actually did do it on the MacBook Pro. And you're uploading a 16 gigabyte file, so let me see over here on my YouTube Studio. Yeah, so I see that it's actually uploading 15% right now, so it's still uploading. So that's good, actually. And it says it's got about an hour and 43 minutes left. So that's cool. And that tracks for the typical time when it comes to uploading. But guys, I just want to say thank you for everything that you guys do. For all your likes, all your comments, for all of you that have been with us forever. Truthfully, I couldn't do this without you guys. It's been amazing. Really? I love doing it. I've enjoyed creating these videos. I've enjoyed doing the live streams back when I did it. But there was something that I missed about storytelling with a camera And that's why I jump back into vlogging, and that's why I get to have so much fun like this. Creating basically, I hate to put it like this, but the old style father handy cam home movie. That is basically what I make, and I love doing it. And with that being said, if you guys enjoy everything, then that's what matters too. And I definitely appreciate it. So with that, I hope you have a good night. Thank you so much for everything. And I will see you tomorrow. If you're wondering, why do you have the light just pointed just like this? Well, because I have a beautiful girl behind me, actually, on the bed that's actually about to go to sleep, and I didn't want to shine the light completely over us and have all the lights turn on. So guys, have a good night. Thank you so much for everything, and I will see you tomorrow. Now go get some sleep. Because after this video, I'm going to get some sleep too. Good night.
But